Paul, thanks so much for joining us. We're excited to talk to you and hear about Cloudinary.
Excellent.
Why don't you start by giving us a background on Cloudinary so we have a bit of an understanding of it?
Sure. So Cloudinary was founded in 2012 by 3 Israeli developers, very experienced developers. They had noticed while they were building applications that there wasn't really this great and easy way to create a single source of truth for images and videos and have programmatic access to it, right? So if you can go back in the day, I know I was there, building a WordPress site, your images and videos would be siloed usually on that server, not necessarily, unless you were doing something a little more advanced, but there wasn't really a way to get that from an API call out of that system into another. So what they wanted to do was go ahead and create this single source of truth, right? This way to get images delivered programmatically, being able to format them to the proper format, crop them as needed, all through a programmatic interface, right? And so clearly there was a need for that because in time we have grown to 1.6 million developers across 10,000 companies using our platform. What they built was sort of the foundational code for what's called Programmable Media, which is our core product. It allows you to, as a developer, to sort of get any type of image or video delivered in a format that's usually automated. It's cropped as needed using AI. And it's a great product market fit given that growth. And, I think what's important is to know that, this growth is sort of how we've always grown. We're now, a Centaur $100 million ARR company, completely bootstrapped, which is important in this day and age. And we're always focusing on that product-led growth. We're always focusing on, what's next, the media science aspect of it. And we've always been trying to integrate AI because what's one of our key selling points really is the fact that we help to automate the processes, make you more productive as a team, as a developer. But also when we deliver and optimize images and video, we're making the user experience a lot nicer.
That's awesome. Thanks for that.
Yep.
So we asked you here today to show off some of the new generative AI features. So I'll hand that over to you and let you share your screen.
Excellent. Give me one moment. So we have a number, as I share my screen, we have got a number of new features that we have released. And these features are all part and parcel to our Programmable Media tool. So there's a few I want to talk about. We're going to talk about Generative Fill. We're going to talk about Generative Replace and Remove. Then we can talk a bit about actually being able to recolor using generative AI. And also, I'll even demo how we're actually integrating some GPT technology into our actual interface. So you can go in there and you can, without knowing all the code, or if you're quick starting as a developer, it's a great way to go in there and conversationally understand what's happening behind the scenes. We have a great mix of generative AI features, image editing, and natural language processing. We figure that, a lot of buzz is around image creation, but we want to do something that is going to be a lot more useful to our customers, being able to create and use these image editing techniques at scale, which, as people have a greater workload, more and more images and videos are required. Just being able to edit these images can sometimes be difficult in ways that need to be done and what can be done with generative AI. So let's start with Generative Fill. Generative Fill is our outpainting tool. So we've traditionally always had the ability to pad an image, right? So if you look at this image that I'm sharing, this is a portrait image. You might need this to fit in a certain width, right? And maybe you need to expand this out to be more of a 4x3 sort of layout. We've always had the ability to do that. Essentially, we can say, pad this out. And what that's going to do is it's going to push the image out so it can fill the space that's needed by the developer. But generally speaking, what we're going to do is create white space, right? So this image now fits the dimensions it needs to be in, but it's still got that portrait look to it, right? So what we can do is we can actually fill this generatively. And that's a really simple call, right? So all I've done is I've kept that call as before, but I've added this directive saying be gen fill. That means background generatively fill. So what's happening here is our AI is looking at the image, looking at this original, and it's going to be able to seamlessly paint in these surroundings, right? So we now have this image that not only fits the space that's required, but actually looks naturalistic in how this has been expanded. So that's generative fill. It's outpainting. It's been a very popular feature that we've added.
Cool.
Can move on to generative remove and replace. A lot of use cases here, right? And we're probably familiar with the term of inpainting. Maybe you want to remove someone, remove an object from an image. So here we have, this hypothetical image that could be used in a photo shoot. You're the art director. You want to use this image, but maybe there's a little too much going on. So we talk about being able to use natural language processing and mixing that with generative AI. So in this next example, I've asked this model to simply remove the model who's on the left. Too many models, but I've asked for the man on the left to be removed. Maybe as an art director, you thought he might have been blurry. You might maybe thought there was too much going on, or maybe that coat he's wearing is no longer part of your lineup. So you've removed him, right? This saves you the process of going back and reshooting this or having a very timely, expensive editing task done by one of your production artists. And again, if we look here, I'm asking for the model on the left to be removed. So this is really crucial to understand how these natural language processing and generative AI systems work together. It understands contextually that there are multiple models on this page, and it's correctly understanding which one to remove. I can change this to the model on the right, and we can see how it switches. That happened fast because I had done this earlier as a test, but it really does show that would probably be a 5-second render for our systems to do that. But it gives you the control to go in there and use your voice to effectively edit these images.
So the user experience on the other end is not lassoing to, and fine picking the outline. It's just sitting there saying remove model on left, remove model on right in whatever context the developer gives them. But it's just actual language and then your system is identifying, aha, that's the model on the left or on the right, going to remove.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. We do also offer the ability to remove by coordinates, but yes, as to save time, it understands what you're asking, right? And it's able to generate that new image through the diffusion models, things like that.
Awesome.
Yep. And so taking this a step further, I mean, we have this concept of replace, right? So here's another image of another model. Let's say you really like this kid's look. You want to use him in an ad, but you need to change his style, right? So he's wearing a sweatshirt. Let's say hypothetically you wanted to replace that sweatshirt with a sport coat. You can do that, right? So you just simply come in here, and if you look at our prompt, I'm calling eGen replace. That's the name of the effect. And I'm saying change it from a sweatshirt to a suit jacket. And it's done that. It's pretty seamless. It looks great. Totally changed the direction of what this kid is wearing as a model. You could use him in a more suitable setting if you're doing something for like maybe a nightclub or something. And again, you can also change it to anything else. Like here we have a raincoat. Again, it's the same thing. I'm just asking it to replace one thing with another, and it's able to understand contextually what I'm asking and go ahead and do it. So it's pretty powerful technology. And this is really we all know that this is new technology. We're doing this at the level now where it's, you can change the type of clothing, but when we talk about what's coming next, we can talk about hyper-personalization, things like that, where you're actually maybe able to replace not just with a raincoat, but a raincoat from your fall line. So that's sort of where this is going. This is amazing to think that you can do this kind of thing now. If you saw this a year ago, it would probably be pretty mind-blowing.
So you could replace it with a raincoat with a 49ers logo, or with the Seahawks logo if you're targeting different, demographics.
Exactly. Yeah. That's future state for what we offer, but that's where we think this is all going, right? Yeah, being able to create a look, right? That's, what people are heading for. And there is some practical, like just one more example is like there are these practical applications now. The ability to recolor, right? So here's an image of a model wearing a skirt. We're actually able to come in here and ask it to change the color, and we're actually passing a hex code here. So we're saying change the dress to this red, right? And it's able to go in there and do it. So this allows you as a development team, if you have your set of proprietary colors, you can actually get that at the hex level and change it. Here it is changed to red, and here it is changed to blue. So there are all these practical applications for the stuff right now, and this is really important if you're you're an e-commerce site and you need to create variants of clothing, variant obviously in color, size, for example. This is going to give you the ability to do that and without having to go back there, do another shoot, or to painstakingly have a production artist go in there and recolor this dress.
I went through it. I'll just grab this one. I went through a use case for this recently. So I had creating an image to represent one of our clients, a European bank that has a very particular red. That's what it reminded me. It was the red that you had. And created an image in Midjourney of a bunch of people standing around a bank, and none of them wearing the color, right? And it would have been nice to have some of the accents there to be able to go in and say, take this shirt or this jacket and replace it with that particular red.
Yeah, exactly.
That represents that specific brand. That would be easier to then communicate to them, and when we're presenting in our workshop to them, they'd feel like it was much more sort of their brand and their environment. That would have been very helpful.
Yeah, exactly, and that's that's important, right? So our technology, you can do one, you can do many, but yeah, it's the ability to go in there on the fly and create these variants for your image, and yeah, it's a powerful application.
Cool.
And just one last demo, if you'll give me the time, is just to talk about how these features can actually be integrated into a product, right? So this is just a look at our media library. This is the folder I use for all my AI demos. We've always had at Cloudinary something called the Transformation Builder. This is a tool that allows you to, play around with we have hundreds of transformations you can use for your images and videos. This allows you to go in there and change, crop it, et cetera, scale it, do any type of visual effect on it. But there is that learning curve, right? The whole point of this is to limit that learning curve, but it still exists, right? So we've actually introduced a GPT-powered conversational builder, right? And so this is our classic. Example of a example we use when you use Cloudinary. But I can come in here and I can say a very common use case, right, for an image like this might be to create a profile picture like that's cropped on the person's face, that is has some artistic transformations, but traditionally, you need to, even as an experienced developer, need to go into our docs, which are great, by the way, but still there's that learning curve, right? So I can come in here and I can simply say, create a face crop of 200 by 200 and make it grayscale. And so I'm going to send this command off to the engine, and it's going to actually analyze what I asked for, my natural language, and it's going to not only create this crop, but it's also going to tell me how to do it. So this is not a good example. If you guys want, I can redo it. But this is sort of what would happen. I could ask this to do a better crop if you guys want to do it, because I've done this earlier. But long story short is this is how this thing works.
Excellent.
Any generative AI is a little bit of a hallucination, right?
Yeah, well, and any demo that actually works isn't truly a demo.
Yeah.
So, no, I think that's quite fascinating to be able to have a generative conversation. Where do you think that goes? What's sort of your aspiration of the conversation side interface for this tool?
I think, like we said, it's meant to. We have people who are technical using our platform, but this is, when we talk about our DAM tool, our digital asset management tool, the users may be more creative, maybe more marketing focused, and they actually might have more of a learning curve. So this is a great way to get product adoption, right? This is a great way to come in and create sort of like the promise of GPT a lot is, you see a lot of things with these AI bots, these AI assistants. This is almost in some ways taking that a step further for a product like this, because it understands, we've trained it specifically on our documentation. There's actually a great blog post on our website. One of our CTO team members wrote about the process of training this model on our documentation, the nuances there. And essentially what we've done is we've created this tool that allows people who know what they want, but they may not have the access or the ability at the moment to do it. And this is really helping to engage people with this tool. I think the promise for this is, hyper-specific, intelligent documentation for SaaS products. If you're doing this in sort of bring this out to like maybe B2C, the ability to have fine-tuned personalized search when you're searching for products, just understanding the language and the person who's asking it and being able to deliver that response, both as a technical solution like this, but also as sort of a hyper-personalized search engine.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Are there other things you'd like to show us?
No, this is the demos I wanted to show.
Okay.
I just do want to talk on the fact that, this is a natural evolution for us doing these generative features. I would say that we have always been, focused on using AI to really help streamline, the production process on the back end. But also that frees up teams to just be more creative, be more productive. And that's sort of a driving philosophy we have. A lot of tools in our tool belt under AI. You can check out our website to see things that help with image management, taxonomy creation, moderation, cropping, things like that. So a lot of great tools, and these generative features are really just the next step for us.
That's great. I'm particularly interested in this conversational aspect because I can see how people would jump in and say, aha, it's just going to be so much easier to say, remove the model on the left, remove the model on the right.
Yes.
Make an Instagram, formatted image out of this, and then have the system reply back and say, would you also like one for Facebook?
Yeah, exactly.
Are you interested in making, a moving, translating this image into something moving, as some tools can do? That the conversational aspect allows the tool to help you, sort of prompt you for the workflow, but it also means that you're moving out of this world of sort of knowing the tools and the automation steps that you have to take to get the job done. And I do love the fact that it's part of the media asset management system, because I'm looking at the image and now I want to do something with it.
Exactly.
I want to sit there and pull it out and download it, all that sort of change process. And using language will be quite a change for people, how people use your tool, I would imagine.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be the norm over time, right? And it's just something people will get used to, just like getting Instagram photos on your phone. It's just going to be, I don't need to search anymore. I just need to ask, and I don't need to filter through. I just need to ask and expect that I'm going to get what I want.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'm curious as to how you're seeing your customers change their processes with this. Like, what's the AI workflow? How is it changing creativity? How is it changing the way teams work? People, of course, are really interested in what happens to creative jobs.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think what we're seeing is, like I said, we've been in the AI business in terms of images and video, utilizing industry leading tools for a long time. And if you read our case studies, you'll see that for the most part, what we're seeing is that this is really freeing up teams to work on other projects, right? So or more important items than sort of these repetitive tasks. The problem is there's only going to be more images, only going to be more video, right? That's just where we're going as computational power gets better, as connections get faster, there's going to be more of a need for this type of asset. And so what teams are really needing is the ability to augment their skill sets. Force multiplier, if you guys, is a great term. I just read that in the MasterCard AI report that was released a few weeks ago. It's really giving people the ability to handle more workflow. So what I think we're seeing is that there's more and more of a workload for these creative teams, and this is only going to help them, right? What we're seeing is, traditionally, a lot of things around taxonomy. You don't need to be entering a photo in a traditional DAM from 20 years ago and go in there and hand code everything about what this image is. We do that on the fly at scale upon upload. And as generative kicks off, what we're seeing is people who want to use it to, say, just touch up images. We have a new feature coming out very shortly about generative restore, which is essentially using generative technology to restore an image, right? So you might have some images that are too small for the modern browsers. You're able to sort of use them to sort of denoise them, et cetera. So there's going to be no shortage of work for folks, and I think this is only going to help augment their workflows and keep them focused on the bigger picture.
I'm interested if you could dig a little bit into a bit more of a technical description on that generative restore. I mean, it sounds like what you're thinking about is it's more of a generative process than, say, the old school magic wand.
Exactly, yeah. So it's essentially using generative tech and there'll be a blog post coming very shortly on this if you guys are interested. But essentially what it's going to be doing is, yes, it's going to be using generative technology to, sort of denoise the image. And, not to get too technical, but the way a lot of these models work is they actually add noise and then take that noise out. And that's how they can improve an image or change an image. And it's just that process being used to effectively use this generative AI to remove the noise, the imperfections, and create a much more pristine looking image.
What have you, out of your customers, what have you seen as a use that you didn't anticipate, that people have adapted this for in a way that you didn't see coming, either good or bad?
I think what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of experimentation right now. These features are still relatively new. We're seeing a lot of experimentation, particularly with Generative Fill. I think some practical use cases we're seeing is the ability to remove certain things from an object, from an image. For example, there might be some metadata text or something over an image. They're able to use our generative stuff to clean that up, and the ability to just come in there and do these sort of technical things. There's a lot of creative use of this technology, but what we're seeing is people want it for more practical use cases, being able to touch up an image, being able to remove some text or something that was added at one point in the process. So it's really just a very practical use case for this. And it's like I said, we're still learning, still relatively new features. But I think what we are seeing is, people trying to find out, like, how do I practically use this stuff? And I don't need to be creating images of an astronaut riding a unicorn. I need to be actually touching up my images for production use.
Good point. What's where will this be in 5 years?
Well, that's a great question, right? Everything's developing so fast, and it's not just the generative stuff or image editing. We're seeing, you can kind of see what's happening through these examples where we're going, right? We're looking at extreme personalization. We excel at Cloudinary at customization of images and videos. Typically, the way that works is some great case studies. Minted is a great case study if you guys want to check it out, how they're using us for this. But effectively, they're using our technology to create variations. But there's using like layers and things like that. It's a great, amazing iteration over the traditional way of managing thousands of variants of images. But I think what we're going to see is more fine-tuned creation of variants. Things like we talked about earlier, being able to replace not just jacket with a raincoat, but replace it with, the 2027 version of like a Seahawks jacket that you talked about a couple years down the road, right? I think we're going to see hyper personalization, the ability to sort of create, when you ask for, using that GPT example, I want to see, how I might look in this clothing, this clothing, and the ability to generate sort of like that look on top of another image. It's all, it's great examples of e-commerce, but I do think that, the sky's the limit. It's evolving, but I think there's going to be a lot of great uses for creating variants, for creating, hyper personalization, being able to give someone exactly what they want, either by request or just understanding, who that person is, what they're going to be looking for. So I think there's a lot coming, and I think it's going to be sort of iterative upon what we demoed today.
Just one final question from me is, what's your advice to young people that are thinking about a career in design or in the creative space for how they might think about this technology?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you sort of touch upon it. There's that fear, right? Of, is this going to somehow take away opportunities? I really don't think it is. And I don't want to be, I've been a developer for 20 years, right? And, I shuddered at the thought of Squarespace and Shopify when I was an e-commerce developer, right? But that's only made my life easier, right? As I would build those tools. I think that's going to happen here. I think it is important for folks to understand, how to use these tools, how to understand. You don't need to understand, the stats and all the stuff that goes into creating a diffusion model, for example. But you probably need to understand, just generally speaking, what those capabilities are, how you can incorporate that into, what you're doing. I always, as a developer, I think if you're at all interested in getting in technical, any type of creative field, you should really, I think, understand some technology, if not coding, then some of the foundational technology around the creative arts. I have 15-year-old twin girls, and they're actually interested in doing website development, things like that. And I'm just trying to steer them into you should really learn foundational stuff now, but understand that, there's going to be all these tools that can help augment your work going forward.
Yeah, and accidentally asked the perfect question to the perfect person.
Yeah.
15-year-old twin girls who are interested in this space. You couldn't be better off.
Better suited.
Yeah. Actually, they start high school next week, and they're taking Intro to Web Design. So, excellent. Wish I had that. I learned how to type when I was 15.
Let's see. When I was that age, I was learning to program BASIC and Logo.
Oh, there you go.
And Pascal. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. This has been great. I love looking at the examples that you've shown and sort of the premise you're taking. There's so much buzz around, as you say, astronaut riding a unicorn, coming out of Midjourney and all of the other tools. What's fascinating is to really see generative AI move into more of that sort of last mile, if you will, of the creation process, right? And thinking about how do we take what the assets you already have and customize them and personalize them for the use case.
Exactly.
And I'm a big fan. I'm really interested to see where you go with this conversational interface. That could be very helpful for those who are experts at the tools, who just don't really want to go through the whole routine, although some people know exactly what their automation system is. Probably built it in Automator. But then there's others that, are new to tools and and new to processes. And I could see how this could really help people accelerate and get more done quickly by just having a bit of a chat to this is what I'm really trying to do, and having the tool help them get there.
Exactly.
I find that to be really compelling and interesting.
Digital partner.
Yeah, having a real digital partner in your workflow process.
Exactly. And, the example I used, I think, that was a very simple example. I've used that tool a lot. Even I have worked for a year and a half in a technical role. Even I need to go in there and relearn how to use some. We have so many transformations. I sometimes need to go in there and use that tool to actually get a refresher. So it's really cool. And I think it's helping our developer team and creatives really use our transformations.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time. And
thank you.
We're looking forward to all the new features you come out with.
Excellent. Thank you, guys.